Welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend review reviewing all of the Premier League and Championship action from this weekend, and starting off on Friday night in the Premier League with a huge win for Norwich at Vicarage Road. Sargent with 2 goals in the 51st and 74th minute, and things went from bad to worse for Watford when Dennis was sent off 4 minutes later. An own goal in the 92nd minute sealed the win for Norwich. There was a weird stoppage for lights, but I have no idea why that was stopped. But yeah, what a huge win for Norwich. Takes them out of the relegation zone, and for Watford though, this was really bad run. Yeah, he's got to go. But moving on then to Saturday's game in the Premier League, and starting off with the lunchtime game where it finished Everton 0, Aston Villa 1. Buendia scored in the 45th minute in the first half stoppage time. Dean with an assist, and yeah, there was some really nasty moments where a coin was thrown and bottles and whatever else were thrown at Dean, which wasn't good to see. But Villa, they held on under big pressure, and that's a huge win for them. Everton, though, that was really worrying. Definitely didn't get the performance required under Ferguson. Moving on then, Manchester United 1, West Ham 0 was the score at Old Trafford. Marcus Rashford with the only goal of the game in the 93rd minute. For me personally, I thought it was very close to being offside, but he got given the benefit of the doubt. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, to be honest. But for West Ham, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best performance. Only one shot going forward when United were there for the taking. It's disappointing. So yeah, they'll be gutted. And for Man United, yeah, once again not playing at the best, but they're getting the results at the moment. That's all that matters. Moving on, Leeds 0, Newcastle 1 was the score at Ellen Road. John Joe Shelby with the only goal of the game in the 75th minute gave Newcastle a win, and what a huge win this was for Newcastle too. Yeah, it was a close game. I'd probably say a draw was a fair result here. But yeah, in the end, Newcastle, it's a big win for them. Really puts them right out of the race for the relegation zone, really, or not right out of it, but you know, brings them into it a lot more. And Leeds in 15th, they could very easily get sucked into it. Moving on then to Brentford 1, Wolves 2 at the Brentford Community Stadium. Moutinho in the 48th minute gave Wolves a lead before Tony in the 71st minute equalised for Brentford. Neves in the 78th minute scored for Wolves. And yeah, Wolves held on. There was lots going on in this game. Drone destruction, Frank sent off after the whistle. Last minute goals being disallowed by VAR, red card turnaround. Yeah, you probably need to watch match today to get a full report. But in conclusion, a big win for Wolves. But for Brentford, yeah, disappointing. Their form is concerning. Moving on then to probably the surprise result of the weekend, and that is Man City finally dropping points, where it finished Southampton 1, Manchester City 1. Kyle Walker-Peters in the 7th minute gave Southampton a lead, and they defended really well. Salisu especially was excellent, before Laporte in the 65th minute equalised. And yeah, City pressed and pressed for the winner, but in the end couldn't find one, and Southampton held on. And yeah, this was really good performance from them. Brilliant from Ralph Hasenhuttl tactically. Man City, I don't think they'll be worried yet, but yeah, this was a disappointing result. Moving on, Leicester 1, Brighton 1 was the score on the Premier League on Sunday. Daka, right after half-time, gave Leicester the equaliser, before Danny Welbeck equalised in the 82nd minute, for Brighton. And yeah, for Brighton, it's a really solid result coming back from behind. A draw is definitely a fair result here, I would say. So yeah, but Leicester in a winning position, dropping points again. That's really frustrating if they want to get in and around the races for the European places, which they definitely will want to. Moving on, Crystal Palace 1, Liverpool 3 was the score at Selhurst Park. Van Dijk and Chamberlain gave Liverpool a 2-0 lead within half an hour, and you thought it'd be comfortable, before Edouard in the 55th minute pulled one back for Palace, and Palace had all the momentum at that time of the game, and you thought they'd really press on, but no. Fabinho got a penalty in the 89th minute, which scored, and yeah, for me it was never a penalty. Kind of killed off the momentum, and Liverpool got the win, probably just about deserving of it, but yeah, really disappointing for Palace with that call. Moving on then, Arsenal 0, Burnley 0 was the score at the Emirates, and yeah, for Arsenal this was really disappointing, to be honest. Yes, they had the majority of the game, but it's still 20 shots, only 5 on goal. It's disappointing for them, really. So yeah, but Burnley, they defended really well. You could say they were worthy of their point, defended really well, but yeah, Arsenal were poor, and it's the typical thing with Arsenal, stop getting positive, and then they just fall away again. Really disappointing. Moving on then, Chelsea 2, Tottenham 0 was the score at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Ziyech and Silva with the goals for Chelsea, all within 8 minutes of it. So yeah, it's a solid win for Chelsea, but yeah, Tottenham once again, it's just disappointing what we've seen them against Chelsea in the last few weeks, really. But for Chelsea, just to get back on track with another home win against Tottenham is a really, really good result for them, and hopefully they can kick on with this and rediscover their form from the first half of the season more consistently. Moving on then to the Championship games now on Saturday, and starting off with two derbies really. Bristol City 3, Cardiff 2 was the score at Ashton Gate. Collins took the lead for Cardiff in the 31st minute before 2 minutes later Martin equalised. Martin then put Bristol City in front. Vyman put them 3-1 up before Cardiff got a late consolation goal, but in the end Bristol City held on, and a solid win for Bristol City, up to 16th now. They're looking okay at the moment, definitely improving under Nigel Pearson, but Cardiff really, really poor once again. Moving on, Forest 2, Derby 1 was the score at the City ground. Lewis Graben in the 48th minute gave Forest the lead, and Johnson in the 82nd minute gave Forest the second. Tom Lawrence pulled one back in the 88th minute with a penalty. Ravel Morrison was sent off in the 96th minute. Forest held on. For Derby, it did feel like just one game too far with how well they've been doing lately. But still not too bad a performance at all. But Forest are really on a roll at the moment. They're flying. Playoff charge definitely incoming. Moving on then to a very mid-table game. Swansea 1, Preston 0 was the score at the Liberty Stadium. Ryan Manning with a goal in the 51st minute to hand Ryan Lowe his first loss as Swansea manager. And for Swansea, a solid result for them. Lifts them up to 17th. They'll be pleased with that. Not just not a lot about this game really. Two mid-table teams really. But Preston in 15th. They'll be disappointed. First loss under Ryan Lowe, but definitely not the end of the world. Moving on then, West Brom 3, Peterborough 0 was the score at the Hawthorns, and all the action happened in the last 10-15 minutes here. Keeper Grant and Dean Garner with the goals for West Brom in the last 10 minutes. And to be honest, it would have been a crime if Peterborough came away from this game with anything. West Brom had to be patient, but eventually got their rewards. Still though, taking 80 minutes to break the deadlock against our other team side fighting relegation, not too great, and they do need to improve, West Brom, really. But moving on then to a crazy first few minutes at the Bet365 Stadium. Stoke 2, Fulham 3. Stoke went 1-0 up in the first minute, but a minute later Fulham equalised. Carvalho then gave Fulham a 2-1 lead before Lewis Baker with a scream and pulled one back for Stoke, and Reid in the 72nd minute gave Fulham the win. And great result for Fulham. Not quite the heights we've seen in the match recently, but Stoke played really well here, and they'll be disappointed with that result. And to be honest, but they still weren't too bad. But moving on then, Sheffield United 2, Luton 0 was the score at Bramall Lane, and goals coming from Rhian Brewster in the 48th minute and Robinson in the 51st minute gave Sheffield United the win. Burke in the 61st minute sent off for Luton, and that just made it a really, really comfortable win for Sheffield United. And it's definitely the best they played in 2021 under Paul Heckingbottom. But form's been a bit shaky recently, but hopefully this is the springboard they lead now to really kick them on. Moving on then, Reading 3, Huddersfield 4 was a score in a crazy game at the Select Car Leasing Stadium. Lucas Jow in the 5th minute gave Reading the lead. Great seeing him back on the score sheet. Before Siani in the 9th minute equalised for Huddersfield. Ward gave them a 2-1 lead. Puskas equalised for Reading before Ward just 3 minutes later gave Huddersfield the lead once again. Morrison equalised on the stroke of half-time before that man again, Danny Ward, with a lovely goal in the 53rd minute to give Huddersfield the win. And Huddersfield, really good win for them, but Reading signs of improvement, but still not enough. Moving on then, it finished Coventry 1, QPR 2 at Rio Rico Arena. Andre Gray in the 6th minute gave QPR a lead before Shipley in the 50th minute equalised. Albert Adamolo in the 88th minute gave QPR the 2-1 win. And what a huge win this was for QPR. They'll be absolutely delighted with that because they really had to work for that one. But for Coventry though, it'll be gutted for them because they've been on a poor run of form lately. To get a result against QPR on such good a run of form would have been a great result for them. But moving on then to a shock result, Bournemouth 0, Hull 1 was the score at the Vitality Stadium. Longman with the only goal of the game in the 77th minute gave Hull the win. But what a great result for Hull this was. Really brings them away from any relegation problems, you'd say now. 10 points clear of Peterborough. But for Bournemouth though, this was so disappointing. Really, really poor again. And they're definitely getting sucked into a fight for second, which it didn't look like it'd be a few months ago. So really disappointing. Moving on then, Blackpool 1, Millwall 1 was the score at Bloomfield Road. And yeah, Lavery with the only goal of the game in the 55th minute, and a great result for Blackpool. Really, a bit of a shaky run recently, so they'll be delighted with that. But for Millwall now, that's 4 losses in a row, and yeah, the frustration will be starting to build, because once again, any chance of a playoff push is really starting to fade away quite rapidly now, and that's so disappointing for them. But take nothing away from Blackpool, they played really well here. Moving on then, Birmingham 2, Barnsley 1 was the score at St Andrews. Hernandez and Hogan gave Birmingham a 2-0 lead after 51 minutes before Barnsley pulled one back late on, but in the end it wasn't enough. Birmingham held on to their win, and yeah, solid enough win. Nothing too special against Barnsley side of how bad they are, but it's a win, overshadowed by the process, so that's completely understandable. But on the footballing side, solid win for Birmingham, and Barnsley, it really is looking tough to see a way they stay out now. Blackburn 1, Middlesbrough 0 was a score on Monday night in the Championship, and yeah, this was a huge result for Blackburn. The only goal of the game coming in the 76th minute through Sam Gallagher, and for Blackburn, after a bit of a shaky run of form, that just gets them really back on track now, so they'll be over the moon with that, into the automatic promotion places once again. Middlesbrough is a disappointing result, but it's just a blip for them, I'd hope. They've obviously been ungrateful under Chris Wilder, and there's no reason why they can't bounce back from this, but for Blackburn, a massive result. Hey guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, remember thoughts, comments down below, follow and the description for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel that's going around now, would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.